Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
What? All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the ASAP Afternoon Blitz on Labor Day here, Monday, September 5th. Had a crazy weekend of college football. Got a lot to talk. We have a lot to talk about. I'm glad to be back after not being on for about a week. Joined by Jay McLovin and Rob Scott from Rob's 2 Cents. How's it going, Jay?
Hey, we're doing well. We are doing well. Glad to have you back. Glad to see a vertical. Yeah, man. Let's get this bad boy cranking. Rob, good to see you, my brother.
How y'all feeling, man? How y'all feeling? Glad to see Chris back healthy. You know, health is wealth, so we always wishing you well, my brother. And, you know, I've been busy myself working out in New York right now as we speak. So this is dedication, y'all. I'm out here, but I'm still available for this afternoon blitz. Let's go.
I saw some of them cars that were going down the road the other night.
Oh man, they was wilding out in New York, man. They brought out the rides, man. I'm like, okay, y'all showing out in New York, you know, having a good time. Got to see Madison Square Garden too, so you know, a lot of history in that building. You know, my boy Kobe, man, he continued to rest in peace, dropping 61. Mike the GOAT dropping 55. You know, it's messed up that all the memories I have of the Garden involved the Knicks getting destroyed. So you know.
Well, next time
I almost, hey Chris, I don't know about you, man. You might have had a better view on it, but I almost didn't recognize Rob, man, without the hat that he normally wears. I don't recognize this hat that he's got on today. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Don't make me go get it.
So I was the same thing. He had a Lakers hat yesterday, wasn't
it? Yeah. I got all type of hats. You know?
Oh, I do too. I got a whole table full of them right here in front of me. And that's not even half my hat collection. That's some people collect like sneakers. I'm a hat guy. I like my hats.
Yeah, gotta have a good hat.
But we had a crazy first weekend of college football.
Yes, we did.
What'd you guys think about that, Jay? Well,
I know there's some LSU fans out there that aren't exactly happy right now.
Disappointed, boy.
Hey, Jim Cross, I hope you're not, doing too bad out there. Philip Tross, I know you was pre-gaming. I'd hate to see what the post-game look like.
Wow. Wow.
But Brian Kelly, man, damn. If you're the kicker for LSU, you must have been required to say about 100, I apologize, Brian Kelly, for screwing over your debut as head football coach of the LSU Tigers. As you know, LSU has dropped the last 3 home openers, and I'm sorry that I couldn't break that cycle and I let you down.
Hey, if he'd been an NFL kicker, he'd probably been fired today.
Shit. Hey, I'd be surprised if he could even walk down the hallway.
Might end up in the transfer portal. The way college football is now, everybody transfers.
I often wonder.
You can't take nothing away from Jaden Daniels though.
No, well, I don't understand. My thing is, people know what Brian Kelly is. It ain't like, I mean, yeah, I ain't gonna say he's a trash coach, but to me, he's not a great coach either. I mean, even in Notre Dame, there were seasons that Notre Dame team underperformed with some of the talent they had.
Mm.
I just often wonder, if you're the kicker for LSU, how do you walk back on campus without being heckled? I'm just saying.
Yeah,
you're going to get heckled,
especially too because of the what kickers. They've always had that bad rap because as a fan and sometimes as other players, you got one job and you can't get that right.
One job.
It's just, oh man, but it was a great game though, and LSU, as a team, they should still hold their head high. I mean, you got screwed by the kicker. It happens, but and the kicker shouldn't hopefully lose confidence because best believe you're gonna be put in that situation again. So, LSU, the way they were able to, get together, had that 13-point fourth quarter. Almost tie the game up, almost take it to overtime after, a defensive game throughout. They can hold their heads high.
I don't know. I'm wondering if I'm the quarterback for LSU, if I'm not taking the kicker into the bathroom and waterboarding them. I'm just saying.
But we also, I would say though, you can definitely see teams being outmatched. Like, Alabama had a huge game. I know this is a team that's not in these conferences, but Jackson State University, I saw Deion team. They had a hell of a game, and that offense and defense looks scary. I mean, Deion is out there coaching. So, it was definitely a lot of domination going on yesterday as well and throughout the weekend.
What'd you guys think about the Ohio State and Notre Dame game? All you heard all offseason of college football is how great the Ohio State offense was going to be this year. And I'm not taking nothing away from the quarterback Stroud. I'm not saying he's not good, but if you lose one weapon like they did, they lost that one main receiver, and then it was like they couldn't do nothing almost the rest of the game till they're in the fourth quarter. And I think a lot of that was Notre Dame's defense started to wear out because Notre Dame's offense couldn't stay on the field. But from what I saw from Ohio State, if that offense don't look any better than that, and if they don't have more weapons on the outside, I think they're going to struggle. Because if Notre Dame would have had any kind of offense at all that night, I think they win that game.
Yeah, their offense was horrible. I mean,
let's keep it real. Let's keep it real though, man. Look, CJ Stroud, I'm telling you right now, I had him as my Heisman favorite. And I got to tell you, they did lose a wide receiver. I forgot who the name of the dude, but
it's their best guy. I can't think of him.
But he still threw for 223. He still got you 2 touchdowns. He didn't give you any interceptions. So they still got the win. So I mean, even at that 14-10 based off him. So CJ, you know what I'm saying? I think they're gonna be all right.
He didn't play bad. I'm just saying, if their offense is gonna have to look better than that to compete with some of these other teams that have better offenses than Notre Dame.
No, I get that. And a lot of times teams play to their competition. I hate to say that, but sometimes they do. So I would, when you get hyped up, if they got to go against a Clemson or a Georgia or, Bama, they're going to come to the occasion. I really believe they're going to come to it.
Y'all talking about Jackson Smith. He's the receiver that went out.
Yeah,
for Ohio State.
Yeah, he went out.
Yeah, he only had 2 catches, 3 yards.
Yeah,
but how about Igbuka? And I know I said his name wrong, but 9 for 90. I mean, and a touch. I mean, they got a lot of receivers there. That's why I'm not really 100% worried. I know losing Smith was a big deal, but That's that next man up mentality. And I think that as long as they continue to do that, they're going to be all right. I think Ohio's going to be okay. Now, again, when they go, the real testament will be, when they face a team like Bama or something, or even if they face a Georgia,
Yeah, Georgia look good.
Yeah, Georgia look really good.
Georgia look good.
Against Oregon, they look really good.
Georgia, I think their strength, those tight ends they have, man. Yeah, they got some big boys.
And I thought Georgia was getting a little bit disrespected by you win a national championship and then
they put you at number 3.
Number 3. And I understand, Georgia lost a lot of their defense last year, but they bring in everybody back on offense. All their starters came back, and in a team like Georgia, Alabama, they have all these 4- and 5-star recruits on the damn bench. So you knew their defense might not be as good as it was last year because 7 of their starters went to the NFL. But you also knew it wasn't going to be trash because of the recruiting system they have.
Well, if you're Stetson Bennett and even the other remaining starters from that championship season last year, and they put you at number 3 in the rankings, you got to imagine they're coming into that season with a chip on their shoulders because they're not getting the respect and love that they probably feel like they deserve.
Oh no, yeah, I would say so. What about Alabama? I know they rolled, but they didn't play a real tough team. But you think they're going to be the team to beat after what you saw in week 1? Who would be your? Did it change your mind on like who you thought would be the team to beat in college football?
I'm gonna let Rob go first on that one.
To me, I agree with you guys with these rankings. I thought Georgia was going to be the team to beat, and that proved me right, seeing what they did against Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
It made Oregon look like a high school team.
I honestly thought the team that looked really good too was how well Florida played Utah.
Yeah, that was going to be the next question. Was there any teams that surprised you?
Yeah, I think that as well as Florida played them was completely stupid. So I think you can't overlook Florida. Also, I thought Miami completely obliterating VCU 70-13. I mean, it just shows you how good I guess Miami is going to be this year.
There was some crazy ass games.
Yeah, that's why I said it was a lot of domination.
Did you see that Appalachian State North Carolina game? It ended up being like 56, 55 or something, but they kept in like the last 15 seconds. There was like 2 touchdowns scored and stuff. It was crazy. It was a crazy game. No defense in that game at all.
Look at this. Listen to these scores. Like Alabama destroys Utah State 55-0. Baylor destroys Albany 69-10. Wisconsin 38 to Illinois State 0. Like USC 66-14 on Rice. Like that's like you just looked up. But you know what though? That's what you're supposed to do though. That's how you start a championship.
Yeah, when you're going up against freaking Rice or Benedictine or some other, nobody gives a damn Ivy League prep school, whatever. Yeah, you're supposed to destroy these guys and put them in the freaking grave. What I don't understand is how North Carolina damn near almost loses to ECU, and they only got them by a point.
Oh, NC State and ECU, and ECU missed 2 kicks at the end. ECU kicker missed 2 kicks at the end.
You're ranked 13. You're ranked 13 going against an unranked nobody, and you only get them by a point.
But see, this is why I say that Georgia is still that team to beat, because they played a ranked team in Oregon and still treated them
like stepchildren. Yeah.
So, for you to beat the 11th ranked team in the nation. You don't
even have the right to even be on the same field as me.
So, that's what I'm saying. Like, Georgia's going to be a tough out.
Yeah, I think Georgia's going to be a tough out as well. Do you think the LSU is going to be able to to compete with these higher level teams. I don't know if they're going to have enough right now.
Not right now. They can't.
Nah.
They're gonna. Brian Kelly gonna have to, do a lot of heavy recruiting over the next off seasons and rebuild this ball club. He does not have the players capable of competing with these other big boys.
Was Ed Orgeron not a good recruiter, or did a lot of the guys leave when he left? Because I mean, this team's fell off quite a bit, and you would think that they would have had some. I know they lost some guys in NFL, but you thought they would have had some recruits in there to try to keep it going some, and it just. I don't know. It seems like their recruiting hasn't been that well,
and it hasn't. They lost a couple of guys. They did lost Max Johnson to A&M. They lost a lot of guys to that transfer portal. Is what happened. What hurt them. And also, I don't think Orgeron either was really necessarily recruiting all that well either. So I think it's actually a combination of both.
What do you think, Rob? You have any thoughts on that?
Nah, LSU. I think they're gonna have an okay season. Like I said, I wouldn't hold my head down from what the game that transpired last night. But at the same time, they're not gonna be able to compete with these bigger boys yet. Let's hope that now, with these NIL deals and things like that, that LSU can possibly get themselves back to college to previous college glory. But right now, to me, Georgia, Bama, we'll see what Clemson does tonight. But I still think Georgia and Bama, those are the two top dogs.
And then we over the weekend we also had some big news, college football news come out. By 2026, they're going to expand the college football playoffs to 12 teams.
12 teams, yeah.
What's your guys' thoughts on that? I figured if they were going to do it, they were going to go to 8. It kind of surprised me they went to 12. I really don't have a problem with going to 12 since they're going to give the first 4 seeds a bye.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they're expanding. I'm surprised they hadn't expanded a long time ago just because of all the money that can be made, and we all know that college football is all about the money. I think it's going to make college football a little bit even more exciting because now some of these other schools, they might not, even if they might get the playoffs and get killed, but at least they can say they have a chance to make the playoffs. And you get in a playoff, you never know what's going to happen.
Any given Sunday, my brother, any given Sunday, if somebody can be that next miracle on 34th Street. I'm just saying.
and it's going to take coaches a little more, I think, thought process going in them playoff games because now it's just not like one game and you're in the national championship game. You got a tournament to go through. So it's going to come down to what teams can stay healthy.
Right.
And there's going to be some other factors that wasn't as big a factor when there was only the 4 teams.
So I just want to say one thing. There's one thing else I want to say about the LSU real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
So LSU was ranked 14th in last year's recruiting class. And they brought back 14 starters from last year's team. And, last year's team wasn't really all that great either. So when you're at number 14 out of the top 25 recruiting classes, you bring back a handful of starters from last year. And the starters you did bring back weren't exactly the best. And you're losing guys to the transfer portal. That kind of just shows you why they are where they are. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to compete when your recruiting class is, as low as it is.
And that's where the transfer portal has really changed college football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, look, if you look at USC, it's basically Oklahoma. Because so many of them players from Oklahoma followed Lincoln Riley over to USC. So it's just now a coach, when he leaves, he can he can recruit players to go with them, where in the past you couldn't do that.
Right, and I think that was a struggle for LSU. The fact that you had Orgeron leaving, you had Kelly coming in. There was that transitional period.
Kelly trying to have a southern accent.
That probably scared away some of the recruits, that they possibly could have got. So, now that Kelly is there, hopefully that will stabilize their recruiting process, and they can get better than what they did at 14. Right. When you look at the 12 teams down to or 4 teams, and then now they're going to expand to 12, I think that's way too much. I think 8 would have been the perfect number for the playoff scenario. I think 12 is just a little overdone. But I guess the only reason I can think of why they would go to 12 is probably, the more games they have, the more money. So maybe it's just a revenue thing. But I don't think it's the best thing for college football. I think 8 is where it should have been. And that's just my opinion.
I don't mind the 12. I like the 12 game. I like giving all the first round, the teams in the top seeds, 4 seeds, a bye. Kind of makes it more professional now. It gives teams something to play for now too, knowing that I get a bye in that first week of the playoffs. And I think that this is going to raise the level of competition in college football and in the playoffs. So I'm ready for some more football. It gives us more football to watch.
Yeah, I thought they would go to 8. I really did, but I would have had a problem if they would have went to 12 and they wouldn't have gave nobody a bye, and you had every team playing in that first round. You had like number 1 playing 12, and because who wants to watch one play 12 for one? Because in football, I'm just be honest, it's not. You don't see as many. I mean, you see some upsets, but it's not like you do in like college basketball and March Madness. And then you have but with them doing it the way they are, giving the first 4 teams that bye, so and then it makes it basically where you're down to almost 8. So that it really doesn't bother me. They went to 12 just because of the way they done it. But I agree, Jay. I thought 8 would have been perfect just because the level of competition. After you get past about the top 8 or 9 teams in college football, even some of the 14, 15, 16 ranked teams in the national in the country, they can't really realistically compete with the top 5 to 8 teams.
Let me ask, my question is this, and this is not a con, or this is not me, trying to give college football a knock or anything like that, but it seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like college football is turning into the NFL 2.0. It's like the NFL is 1A and college football is NFL 1B. Because we got transfer portal, which is AKA free agency. We got NIL, which is AKA contract money. I mean, now we're talking buys. Now we're talking, 12 teams so they can get a buy. I mean, the only thing that is missing from college that the NFL has is an agent, a sports agent for these players.
Oh, I'm sure that's probably going to be coming soon, though, because of the NIL.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's almost as if college football is now what it always has been. NFL, I mean, college football has always been the G League for the NFL, but now it's really operating like a true G League.
It's almost operating I'll use a wrestling reference. It's almost operating like NXT is the WWE is it part of WWE, but a little bit lower brand. And that's what college football is basically turning into almost, because it, like you said, all the stuff that's similar. The only difference is they're just not quite at that level of competition.
And do you think it hurts college football? Because back in the day, and again, I'm not opposed to players and NIL, because I understand, the reasoning behind it, and they should get revenue off their bodies, things like that. But at the same time, the pros and the cons. The pro is the athlete now gets paid. The con is, I think, we lose the purity, the innocence, the purest form of football in college football, because now they got their money, so they're not necessarily playing their hearts out to get that NFL deal. You know what I mean? It's like when you don't have money, you're hungry to get money. You're hungry to get to the NFL, and you're going to go all out. But now that we're giving them NIL money, hey, I got $9 million, $6 million, $4 million, whatever. It is. I'm good.
And that's a good point, because also you now look at all these players that don't play in start setting out bowl games and stuff, because didn't want to take a chance of getting hurt before the NFL draft. But now, like you're saying, some of these guys will be able to make enough money off NIL that realistically, if they invest it right, when they get out of college, they wouldn't ever have to really work a day in their lives. They could do what they love to do and invest their money right. And there, you know what I mean? So you're right. So you might have players say, hell, I can make enough playing college football, and I can enjoy the rest of my life, not put all that damage on my body. And it might not be as focused of trying to compete to get to the NFL. Because we know all the players don't play because they love the game. Some players, it's all about money. Everybody does it for different reasons.
And again, if you take Bryce Young, for example, he's got what, $9 million in NIL money. I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, with the right financial advice, $9 million is like $100 million to me, because I promise you, I will live within my means, and but I'm also going to live fat and happy.
Yeah,
but I get what you're saying, but trust me, they're still thinking about that NFL contract, because that $9 million NIL deal ain't nothing to a $50 million. Or what did Russell Wilson just get going to Denver?
245.
That's what you see what I'm saying.
But not fully guaranteed, which I want to talk about, not now, but later on in the show. I'm going to talk about the contracts after the Deshaun Watson contract and how it's taking a really weird turn. But yeah, back to what you're saying, Rob. Yeah, he got $245 million. That was on a 5-year extension, which I think pays him right at $49 million, which is $1 million less than what Rodgers is getting. And we all know Rodgers has the highest contract per year.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So these players, trust me, they because once you start getting money like that, you develop a different lifestyle. You're going to want to keep that lifestyle.
I know, and I'm not saying they're not playing for the contract. I don't mean it to be like that. But at the same time, and I'm speaking out both sides of my mouth, though, Rob. You gotta admit it takes away from the purest form of football, like back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
I think what it's really done a lot too is real quick before Rob goes is if used to a lot of these players would be on their college team for 4 years. You knew as a fan, you knew almost all the players a lot of the players on your team. Now with this transfer portal and everything, players switching around teams every year, some of the teams don't have that college feel of like look, back in the 90s when I'm a big IU basketball fan. I'll use them for example. They had Calbert Chaney, Damon Bailey, all them guys, and they were on there for 4 or 5 seasons. And, you got to know the players. You got a little. I think as a fan, you got a little more invested because you knew everybody, most of the people on the roster. Well, now it's not like that because. Right. Hell, you can see a quarterback play for 4 different colleges now.
I think for me, what I would have liked to have seen versus the NIL is the colleges giving athletes, injury insurance policies. So, for example, Bryce Young, I want you to come play for Alabama. We're going to give you a full ride. You're getting the full ride. We're going to give you tutors, everything you need to be successful in college on top of that. And then if you do get a career-ending, injury, we're going to give you $1 million, as an insurance policy that you'll get. So that way you still, you're number one, you're getting a free education. Number 2, you got $1 million in the bank. I mean, and then of course I would also throw in free medical care, right? So if you get if you need ACL or any kind of surgery, the university will pick up, the tab. Plus, again, if it's career ending, we give you that insurance policy, and then you get a free education. I think personally that type of deal is better than the NIL. Now you can say, well, Jay, and I get what they're saying. But again, it messes with the college game, right? So I think with the way I'm proposing it, the athlete is still being extremely well taken care of. They get a free education, and you still get the integrity of the game of them fighting for that NFL contract. And if they get a career injury, then the university is still going to stand in and say, okay, here's your $1 million, settlement claim money, whatever. Let's carry on. And I think the athlete's taken care of, and you're going to get the best version of college football.
I'm all about pay that man.
I know you are. I know you are, Rob. That's the problem. You capitalistic, greedy people.
Hey, I get what you're saying, but if you think about the money, the insane amounts of, because a lot of people always throw that in college kids' face. Oh, well, they're paying for your school full time. You know how much money these kids are bringing in off their athletic ability?
I understand.
So it's like I'm not mad now that college is acting more like a business, because it is. It's been a business for a long time that didn't let the main parts of their business get any financial gains. It's about time they pay up.
No, and again, I get the business aspect. That's my point is not so much if they deserve it. My point is that because we are operating like this now, it's destroying the purest form of football. You know what I'm saying? Because now we make college football a business, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be, but my argument isn't that we're making it a business. My argument is now the business has corrupted, the amateur process, which I think gives you the best version of college football. And I'm kind of speaking on the fan perspective, right?
I can kind of hear what you're saying, but like I don't think that's gonna deter you from getting the best player that these players can be out of these players.
Really?
You know what I'm
Rob,
saying?
you don't think these players are taking plays off because they don't want to screw up their chances? Rob, I live in the real world, Rob.
If you give me a taste
you're living in, but I live in the real world, and I know damn good and well we've already seen it where players are sitting out bowl games for that very reason. And you don't think these guys sometimes are taking plays off? I'm not saying they're taking every playoff, because they have to have highlight reels to get them, drafted at certain levels in the NFL process. But you can't tell me that these kids are going all out.
They want them millions and millions of dollars, man. I don't care what college is paying them. That ain't an NFL contract.
No, I understand. And again, I'm not really. I'm just speaking from as a fan of the game, or as a student of watching the game. I don't get the best version of my school in that rivalry, because again, we got players that don't want to jeopardize, to your point, those big NFL contracts.
Of course not. I mean, but that's been happening for years, though.
College football, the integrity of the game is taking a step back for big business.
I don't look. Just let them. They just started this thing. Let them get used to it, and then they'll find a system of how to not corrupt the integrity of the game. But I don't think I still think, speaking as a person, that I don't care how much money I'm making from college. If you're telling me I can make that, I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers, I'm looking at Tyreek Hill, I'm looking at all these players that's getting these max deals, the Dak Prescotts of the world, the Deshaun Watsons of the world. This man got $230 million coming, and he can't even play.
Oh, no, I get it. And again, that's why I said earlier, I feel like I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, because I'll tell you, if I had a son who was a quarterback, a big 5-star quarterback, the next, Heisman Trophy, next, NFL guy, and NIL deal comes at $9 million, I'm telling my son, take the money, kid. Take the money, take a few plays off, because we want the big payday. Okay. On the other side of my mouth, I'm saying, shit, man, there goes the game. Now we're taking plays off. I get it, man. Hey, trust me, if I'm in that spot where the money's there, of course, Rob, we're all gonna do that. No, I get your point. I don't want you to think I'm arguing it, because
I know.
I get it. Because believe me, I wish I had offspring that could get me $9 million damn dollars. Hey, listen, I will whore my son out to the fullest.
But the play, damn it.
Just call me J Pimp. You know what I'm saying? OG Pimp, baby.
The players, I think it affects more. I don't think it affects with what James was saying with his point. I think it would be more towards your mid-level players that are now making money and wouldn't have made money in college. Because your top players in college, they're still going to want that big contract in the NFL because they know they're going to the NFL. But some of these other guys that play college football basically just for the love of football because they know they're not going to make it to the NFL, make no money off of it. If they're making money in college, some of them guys might not play as hard as some of the top level guys. I could see maybe that happening more than the top level guys.
I just love the opportunity that these young kids, regardless of race, anything, they're getting an opportunity that most people are not afforded. They're getting a great start at life.
Yeah.
Where they already not just making some money, but they're also getting a chance to learn how corporate America works. And I wish they taught more business classes in school that was mandatory for you to learn, not optional. Like to teach you how banking works in corporate America and how this thing operates, because it's so much that happen behind the scenes people don't even know about.
And there's I remember when I got out of school. Look, you get out of high school, you turn 18 and you start going on your own. There's a lot of shit you don't learn. You don't learn in everyday life. You don't learn in school, and a lot of the shit you learn in school you don't use in everyday life. Our education system does need to be tweaked because there's stuff like that. I agree. Teach kids how to balance a checking account and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of these kids, they get my son is pretty good at it, but her son that was living with me, he's 18, and dude, he has no clue what any of that means. But I mean, you try to teach him as a parent as well. Don't get me wrong, but if they teach that stuff in school, that helps as well instead of spending time on some of this other stuff that you do in school.
Hey, I always joke with one of my former teachers. I'd be like, man, Van Gogh didn't help me in this situation. So
afternoon, John. What's going on, babe?
What's up, John? Damien did have a comment.
Damien always has a comment. It doesn't mean we always talk about him.
I know, but bye weeks in the playoffs are dumb and unfair, in my opinion. Every team should fight in every round of the playoffs. I don't see why you get this. It's not special treatment. You earn that by what you do in the regular season, and it makes the regular season mean something. If you don't have them buys, then the regular season don't mean as much. Look in the NFL. They went down to one bye. How important is it to get that number one seed in the NFL now? So you get that bye.
That bye is important, but I'm just Jay, you a nut. That was hilarious.
NCAA should make a rule for these students that are getting paid now. Let's get them their money. Yeah. But if they do
take control what people do once they get their money, Damien. Take that idea out your head. Now, I don't care. If I worked for you and we had a contract, I don't care. So I'm gonna put it to you like this. If I worked for Coca-Cola and we got a contract and I deliver my half of that contract, I want my money and you can't tell me what to do. I'll go buy a Pepsi right in front of your face.
I'll be walking through the Coke plant drinking my Mountain Dew.
Hey, the best person that was a good example, and I don't know who got in his ear and made him do this, but I think if you ask him now, it's the best thing that he ever did is AI. They had AI put $21 million back in a trust that he couldn't touch until he hit, I guess, whatever benchmark they sat for him. And then of course he got the rest of his contract. He blew all of his money, went down to being broke. And had he not had that money set aside, he'd be in the gutter somewhere. But now he's able to tap into that money. And I know he's a lot wiser now with how he spends it. But
you know what though? Like I said, I think I said this, Jay. We've talked about this on your show, on Unscripted, a couple of times. Yeah. When you take a kid from the hood who probably grew up in poverty, and then you throw $20 million in his hand, what you think gonna happen?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you don't, and there's no education behind this money. It's just you gave him money. Now he earned the money. But if I went from nothing to something, I'm gonna get a lot of something. I'm compensating for what I've never had. You know what I'm saying? I might go buy a toy. I don't even play with toys, but it might just been a toy that I wanted one Christmas and my mama couldn't get it for me. I just want the toy. Just to say I was able to buy the toy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I get it. I get it. And again, you know, with money comes the curse of it, right? Or,
it is.
Even with poverty. You know, and that's what I don't understand though, too, at the same time. I got to be honest with you too. I mean, I look at things a little bit different. When I was younger, I looked at things much different. And I'll give you a point. I was 19 years old. I just got I was in the military, and I wanted to get a credit card, but I was so scared of the monthly payments. I literally, you can't make this up. This is what I did. They gave me the credit card number because you got to wait in the mail to get the actual physical card. I took that number. I think I picked out 3 pair of jeans, 3 shirts, and a pair of shoes. And I went to the counter and I paid it on my little new number that I just got in my hand. I kid you not. You know how when you're in the mall, you got to go through one set of doors, and then you're in a vestibule, then you go through the next set of doors?
Mm-hmm.
Bruh, I got through the first set of doors. I said, look, what if I don't get this bill? Now I got all this debt. Oh, hell no. Bruh, I turned around. I went back to the refund, and I gave them all the clothes back. I tore up the card, and I never used that thing. I'm just saying. The point I'm making is this. Yes, if you give a young kid who's never had anything, he's going to do one of 2 things. He's either A, like you said, going to spend it because he's never had it, or B, he's going to save it because he's scared he might lose it and go back to where he was. So I think there's 2 types of mindsets that you're going to have, coming out of a poverty type area. No matter what your skin tone is, the brain is going to operate one of 2 ways. It's either going to say YOLO and spin, or it's going to be like, oh, hell no, I don't want to live like this again. I'm going to save my crap. It just depends on what mindset that child has. I really don't think economics have a deal with it. I just think and I'm going to say that it doesn't have all of it. It obviously has something to do with it. But I do think that child's mindset at the time also will have to do it. And like you said, Rob, everybody's different. Not everybody operates on the same wavelength, when they get that type of cash, right?
Mm-hmm. Especially, too, at that time, when you're getting that type of money, you think you're untouchable. You think you're going to have all this money coming in like this all the time.
And you never, an injury or something can stop all that money from coming in all the time, and then can screw you if you're not smart.
But then again, though, but it also goes back to the parents of said child that says, "Hey, son, you're about to get this mad amount of money. My advice to you is be smart with it and divide that money in 3: savings, miscellaneous, and bills. And your miscellaneous will be your fun money." I mean, the point I'm making is the parents in these environments need to be setting their kids up for financial success, to y'all's point, so that when young poverty-filled Joey gets the big 20 million payday, he's got his dad's teachings that will help him handle getting that a large amount of money, right?
John, the Pirates and Mets game got rained out today. They're going to do a split doubleheader on Wednesday to make up today's game. And I think another thing we need to do as a society too is, like Damien said, if these guys get paid and they do something stupid, they shouldn't get paid at all. Okay, but why do we hold these guys to a different standard than we hold everybody else in our society? If I go do something stupid, that doesn't mean I can't
my job to stop paying me.
Yeah, that means that don't mean I can't ever get a job again and make money in my life. Where a lot of these guys think that these NFL players or NBA, just because they're making millions, if they make one mistake, they should be crucified for the rest of their life and not be able to have another opportunity. But we don't treat everybody in society like that. So we need to quit just treating like some of these higher paid people like that, because just because you make all this money doesn't mean that you're going to be the smartest person in the world with it, or you're not going to make mistakes. Hey, we're all human. You're going to make mistakes, and America used to be like the place where you're supposed to be able to get second, third chances. Now with this cancel culture, you can make one mistake, dude, and your career could be over, and the money you're making just be done. I mean, I know people that's happened to, made one mistake, and now his career path was going straight up. Now he can't get booked nowhere.
Yeah. And also, it's not even all the money that they get that's the issue. It's all the toys that after they buy, and they don't know how to handle the toys. And then they, hey, I hate to use Ruggs as an example, but you go out there, do 156 on a road, and then you get into a wreck. I mean, it's not about the decisions of how you handle your money as it is how you handle your life, right? I mean, because a lot of these kids, they get all that money and they get all these toys. They just go, hey, they're all over the place going crazy. And Ruggs isn't the only one that's done that. A lot of them. What's that one receiver that just got out there in Arizona that just got pulled over? Which one was that? It was he was going like 126 down that road. Jay Ness was talking about it. I can't remember that receiver's name.
Damien, that's not what I'm saying. There's different levels to different mistakes. You don't treat every mistake the same. You don't treat every crime the same. That's like saying comparing to that it don't even make no damn sense.
That's like talking about
somebody rapes a 17-year-old, they probably should be shot in the damn head.
Right.
That's the way I feel about it. But
if somebody takes a pair of sunglasses,
every mistake in crime isn't the same. You can't compare that to a guy spending money on something stupid or getting accused of something that's not that and then not get proven. I'm just saying there's some cases where we crucify guys and they don't get another chance and nothing was proven that they done wrong. They were accused, but they were never proven or convicted of anything, and they still lose their careers. But no, I'm not saying Matt Ariza should not get crucified. Hey, you can't rape a 17-year-old. Hey, you got problems. That's stuff that's other issues. You can't treat every crime and every mistake the same.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure what Matt did had nothing to do with money.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that just has everything to do with no morals and stupidity.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, let's talk about, I don't mean to throw Frankie under the bus, but I got to do it, man. I got to.
Oh, wait, real quick, because I know where you're getting ready to go. Real quick, Jay.
Oh, yeah. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, there is one thing I wanted to say real quick.
I'm going to go sit in the corner real quick. Hold on.
I want to give a big shout out to Ryan Kerrigan, played for the Washington Commanders. He retired earlier this year, and then today he accepted a coaching job with them. He's actually from my hometown, Muncie, Indiana. So it's pretty awesome to see him now being as an NFL coach after having that 11 career season in the NFL. So I wanted to make sure he got a big shout out because that's pretty cool to see a guy from your hometown succeed like that.
Did you know him?
Yeah. Yep. He went to the opposite high school of me, but yeah, I know him.
Well, you need to get him on the show. What's your problem?
I'm gonna work on it.
God, so it's like I went to school with the son of a bitch.
Yeah, he went to the rival school. Well, now there's only one school here, but back then there was two schools. He went to the rival school. But go ahead.
Okay. Even if he is a rival
about Frankie.
So Brian Cashman's on the hot seat. Oh, is he on the hot seat? And if they go all the way into the toilet, he done. El Matador is gone. And, rightfully so. He deserves to be gone. The guy hasn't produced anything since 2009, I think was the last time they were even in the World Series. So at some point, if you're non-competitive to that level, especially when you're wearing the pinstripes, for the love of God, of all uniforms, the pinstripes, I'm really surprised he hasn't been gone sooner than now. I mean, what do you think, guys? I mean, they gone through. They had Girardi. They have Boone. They've had countless number of free agents that have come and gone throughout that system. I mean, at what point does Brian look himself in the mirror and be like, maybe I'm making changes when I shouldn't be making changes. I got the number one team in baseball a week before the All-Star break, and then I want to go make all these changes, some of them that don't even make sense. At what point are we saying, hey, Brian, you've really kind of run this team amok?
I'll be honest. I'm kind of surprised that he's lasted this long in New York, just because how the Yankees are. The Yankees have always, it's every year it's World Series or bust, and for them to be down or I'm not going to say they've been down because they haven't been terrible teams, but for them not to be in the World Series, competing for a World Series every year, I'm surprised he's lasted this long. I think him and Boone are both going to be gone, unless that somehow
rightfully so.
Unless somehow they turn this around and they at least get to the World Series. If that doesn't happen, I think both of them will probably be out of the New York Yankees organization. And knowing my luck, the Reds will probably hire Aaron Boone as their next manager.
Yeah. And again, I mean, at some point, I think Boone clearly has lost the confidence. He's lost the mental attitude of the locker room to this point that I don't think he's going to be able to get it back. I don't see that happening. I mean, not to mention they also have injuries out there as well. So at this point, Benintendi, I think he just went on the IL with I don't know if it was his thumb. He did something to himself. I know he's on the IL though for a little bit. But I think at some point you have to look at the top and then work your way down in terms of making a change in that clubhouse. And I think it starts with Cashman, and it probably is going to need to take Boone out. And then you're going to have to reinsert a GM that has good analytical skills, but also good patience and decision-making skills that I think Cashman sometimes lacked.
Yeah. But I don't know who they would go get as who do you think they would go after as a GM?
Jesus, man. And again, that's the $1 million question. I think for the GM part, I don't know. I'd have to research that a little bit more, but I think I like a Joe Madden as my head coach. I think, and I know Madden's available. I think I'm looking at Madden for my of course I'm gonna bring him in and interview him, but I'm looking at Madden as my coach. And then at the GM level, I don't know. I'd have to research that one. I don't want to speak off the cuff or uneducated, but I definitely think that Madden would be my first choice, at least first prospect to interview for the head coaching spot or manager spot for sure.
Yeah, Madden was one of the guys that we actually talked about on the morning show this morning about that. We thought that could be the Yankees' next manager.
Yeah,
I know you don't want to hear this, but I think Dusty Baker would be a great fit for him.
Hey, no, Gonzo, no. Look, I don't care how much I love you. I will come find you.
He's like, hey, we used to have Baker as our manager.
I'm just saying, don't take my guy.
No, because he's doing good for you guys.
Don't take my guy.
He didn't have that kind of success with the Reds, but that wasn't all his fault either, because the Reds don't want to spend the money to compete. But he's done a great job at other places, and he's done a great job in Houston.
The Astros had the lineup.
Yep.
And they had the prospects to bring up. All Dusty has to do is just give them a good, sound, fundamentalistic manager, and we're good. And that's what he's been, and that's why we're doing as well as we are.
And Dusty he has that enough. With all his history, he demands enough respect from these players where he can keep them. He can kind of hold them accountable. You know what I mean? And keep the team on track. And I think that's where Aaron Boone is struggling right now. I don't think a lot of just from the outside looking in, I don't think a lot of these players on that Yankees team really respect them. Yeah. And I think he has trouble holding everybody accountable and keeping everybody up to that level they need to be.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is Aaron Boone's first stint at being a head coach or head manager, right?
Yeah.
So, to come into New York,
it's a hell of a place.
Of all places, as your first fit at coaching, I mean, that's pretty damn hard. You know, maybe he would have been a little bit better at a smaller market, kind of work on your craft a little bit more, whatever. Or maybe he should have came in as a bench coach and worked his way up, you know, to that level. But man, it's hard. It's hard to come into that spot and try to have all the skill sets necessary as a manager, like you said, to command the respect of those players.
Yeah, especially like you just said, at a place like the New York Yankees. John, Reds were pounding the ball that day. I didn't get to watch much of it because I was asleep sick, but I woke up and saw they won 10-0. I was like, okay. But what you think about NFL starting Thursday, man? We're only 4 days away. Got the Bills and the Rams. I think it's going to be a great game to kick off the NFL season.
It's going to be a slobber knocker.
Hey, look, I just need to know right now, before the season starts, I need to know Rob Scott's team.
The Buccaneers, boy.
Don't get mad at me, Rob. I just want to know the team so that way when we get to week 8 or 9, I don't see all of a sudden, you know, a Rams hat on you.
No, it's always whoever Tom Brady with in the Bears. That was my team.
Look, don't get mad at me. I'm just asking. Just like, you know, when we start basketball next year, I'm going to ask you.
No, this thing, baby.
John said, go Cowboys. Come on.
That's right. Go Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys.
They're going to be doing a lot of plays next season. You're going to be like, how, boys?
Who do you got?
I got a question. I got a question. Who here has seen Blitz reports NFL power rankings as they stand going into the season? Has anybody, and I don't know, some people put some latitude on it, some people don't. But I thought it was really interesting, not so much in the first 3 that they had, but more so after like 6 or 7. Because obviously they got Bills at 1, they got Rams at 2, they got the Bucks at 3, and I think it starts to get a little weird. They got the Bengals at 4, they got the Chiefs at 5, they got Chargers at 6, which I think we've talked about how some of us kind of think the Chargers are better than the Chiefs this year. They got the Packers at 7, they got Baltimore Ravens at 8. They got the Denver Broncos at 9, which I don't know. And then, Gonzo, they got your Colts at number 10.
Wow.
And this is where it gets even better. Again, I am a true Cowboys fan. Nobody more than me. But I'm also a realistic individual. But they got the Cowboys at 11. Eagles at 12. Which I think we all know the Eagles are better, I think, than the Cowboys just because of the people they've picked up and the people that Dallas has lost. But here's where it gets interesting for me. They got the Raiders at 13. They're telling you that they think that the Broncos are better than the Raiders. They think the Cowboys are better than the Raiders. And then they got Cardinals at 14. I'll give you the last one at number 15. Because I don't think it really matters after that. But they got the 49ers at 15. And again, it depends, I guess, on how Trey Lance operates that system. And maybe that's why they put him at 15. I think if Garoppolo maybe was a starting quarterback for the Niners, that I think San Francisco might have been a little bit higher in this scenario. Maybe Trey Lance is the one that ducked him down. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, a few of the spots that Bleacher Report has, I think, is on point. But I think that the Colts were definitely in this situation ranked too high. I think the Broncos were ranked too high. I think the Cowboys were ranked too high. Those are my 3 surprises.
I'll give you a pass just because you said you thought the Cowboys was ranked too high after you said what you said about my Colts.
I think the Packers were ranked too high.
Yeah, the Colts.
Yeah.
You say the Colts they had the Colts at 11, right?
No, they had the Colts at 10.
I must be looking at a different one.
Yeah, I'm looking at a different list too. Because
the one I'm looking at has Dallas at 9. Dallas at 9.
Denver at 10.
Denver at 10. Colts at 11.
Colts at 11.
All right, and what's your source? Where are you drawing off of?
Bleacher Report.
That's off Bleacher Report?
Yeah.
Because I'm doing off Bleacher Report too. And that's weird to me.
Yeah, I got the same list. You got your Cowboys as 9, Jay.
He laughs.
See, I'm right there on Bleacher.
But they got the Ravens as 8.
So the one I'm looking at has got Cowboys 11. The ones that you got has Cowboys at 9. I mean, either way, I think we can both agree that Bleacher Report they may be on some crack cocaine.
And I don't believe
it may be somebody come tomorrow morning is going to be out of a job because they put that crap out there. I mean, that was almost as bad as a dude that came on ASAP saying Aaron Rodgers isn't top 10 or 15, whatever it was he said. So that's about as bad as that.
I don't believe that the Bengals should be higher than the Buccaneers.
I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I got my reservations on the Bucks. I got reservations on their O-line. I got reservations, on Barrett being the tight end and him not having Gronk back or in there. They lost a little bit on that defensive line. I don't know, guys. I know it's Tom Brady, and I hope Tom Brady just blows the lights out of the league because he is my fantasy quarterback. But
the offensive line worries me.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't care how good Brady might be. If you don't give him time to throw the ball, he sucks. Anybody ever knows that when you put pressure on Tom Brady, he is not Tom Brady. He's almost like he's an average quarterback. But when you give Tom Brady time in which to operate, he will pick you apart like nobody's business. So again, I think that's the part that with Tampa, I'm kind of worried about. And me personally, I got the Bengals. In my opinion, I think they're better than Tampa. I think the Bengals got the run game. I think the Bengals got the defense. I think they got the O-line, the wide receivers. I mean, quarterback for sure. I mean, I don't know, guys. I know a lot of people are not as high on the Bengals, this year after that Super Bowl loss.
One-hit wonders.
Okay. And we've all seen that happen, right? I mean, it's not like that can't happen. We've seen teams, go in and then after that, they were dog doo-doo.
I ain't going to say they're going to be dog doo-doo, but I don't think they make it back to the Super Bowl.
I mean, if you don't make it back to the Super Bowl and you got all the pieces in place, record be damned, you're still dog doo-doo. Last time I checked, if you're not holding the trophy, there's no damn difference between you and last place other than you got a few more extra games in the season.
Ricky Bobby taught me if you ain't first, you're last.
But that's not true because Ricky Bobby's daddy said that's not true, son. You could be second, you could be third.
He said, "Hell,
you could be fifth."
I was drunk and stoned when I said that. That's some of the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
I operated my whole life off of that principle.
I watched that movie the other day, man. If I'm flipping through and it's on, I'm
watching it. I love me some Talladega Nut.
I'll be on you like I love it when he gets stabbed with the knife in the knee.
He was like, "See."
You guys think Buffalo? Who do you think wins, Buffalo or Rams on opening night? And what do you expect from the Buffalo offense without Dayball being there? Do you think Josh Allen and that offense will still look the same?
I got the Rams. I think the Rams come out. They on a mission to prove that it wasn't no fluke.
Well,
so
that's true. I could understand that.
And I think Cooper Kupp was to show that he is making the case that he's the best receiver in football. So I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams to beat the Bills. But I do think that the Bills they're going to be in the AFC Championship game.
Man, talk about a hellified opening Thursday night to start this. Can it get any better than that? I mean, seriously. I mean, honestly, after Thursday, does anybody even really care about Sunday other than maybe for fantasy football reasons? Because you done got the magnum opus.
Well, I think everybody cares
I
about
still want to.
Sunday
I
just
want
'cause
to.
it's opening day for
I
all their
want to.
teams.
I want to watch the Bears game, no matter how bad they're gonna be. I want to see the Bucks play, and I want to see this Cleveland versus Panthers game.
I'm real excited about the Buffalo and Rams game. I'm not gonna lie, that Thursday night game should be real fun.
It's gonna be a beautiful thing.
I will tell you, there are 3 games that I'm not gonna lie. Until I really looked at this, I had to actually change my thought process because there are 3 games, maybe even 4 games that are just incredible. I mean, week 1 might be the best damn week in football. I'll tell you why. They give you the climax of Bills Rams. I mean, they get you hyped up with that already. So now you're ready for Sunday. You done come off the Saturday college football high, and now you're going to roll into a Sunday that's going to give you a Packers-Vikings game. And we've all said, and I know I've said, that I feel like the Vikings are going to be better than the Packers this year.
Vikings are going to win the North.
And I'm telling you, so they give you that one right off the rip to answer that first question that a lot of people are going to have. And I think if you're not excited about that Packers-Vikings, how the hell are you not going to look at the Raiders-Chargers? And then that's another one that, you know, some people say Raiders are better than Chargers. Some people say Chargers are better than Raiders. So they give you this game to kind of set that narrative. And then they wrap it up with the Cowboys and Bucks. Now, I would say this. If you watched last year, we played the Cowboys and Bucks week 1 as well, which is, I thought that was weird. They did it to us again. But if you watch that game, Cowboys won that, except for the kicker. Freaking kicker, I swear to God. It was worse than LSU. That kicker missed an extra point, and then he also missed a 35-yard field goal. So that's 4 points due to the kicker that the Cowboys gave up. And if you watch that game, the Bucks only won by 3. So again, the kicker gave away that game. So this is a rematch, and I think we've got a different kicker this year. Thank God. Now, I think it's going to be good to see that rematch and see how well the Cowboys stack up against the Bucks, because that's going to tell me everything I need to know in terms of how they're going to fare in the division. Because, again, my pick, and I hate to say this, I hate it more than anything, I still think that right now, I think that the Eagles and what they acquired and what the Cowboys gave up is just too much. And I think that in the NFC East, I got the Eagles at division winners, and I got Cowboys as the wild card. And I hope Cowboys prove me wrong, and I hope the Eagles just burn in hell.
Very deep, Jay.
He said, I hope they burn in hell.
Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
On my barbecue pit. Which me and Rob and Gonzo will drink a few beers and eat that Eagles food.
Well, Jay, according to the Madden simulation, the Cowboys are going to win.
Hey, but honestly, does anybody, after what I just, how good of a week 1 slate is that?
Oh, no, it's a good week 1 slate. And also, but the thing is, anytime there's an AFC West division game, that's going to be, should be a real good matchup with that division, because you have, all them teams should be better.
And I do want to see the Bears game, or at least, I really want to just kind of see how Justin Fields comes out and plays, given that he has a new head coach. And he also has the Cowboys. The Cowboys. He has the Green Bay Packers offensive coordinator now with the Bears, which was, directly responsible for a lot of what Aaron Rodgers was developed under. So it's going to be interesting to see now, how does Justin Fields, under a whole complete new system, how does he look? Because I think Rob, and Gonzo, we've all talked about it. We think Nagy was the biggest hindrance to Fields. So now, I mean,
He's
one
out of
actually,
there.
yeah, but he's gone. So now we got Eberflus in. I forget that guy's name, but we got a new coordinator in that had a lot to do with, like, again, with Aaron Rodgers and his success. So, I mean, come on, Fields, let's go.
Hey, Justin Fields, the new young GOAT. You heard it here first.
Hey,
speaking of that right there, who do we think is going to be the best second? Who's going to have out of the second year quarterbacks? Who's going to have the best season? You have Lawrence, who didn't have a great year last year as a rookie. You got Fields as well. Zach Wilson, who's hurt. But like out of some of them, it's like second year guys at quarterback. Who do you think is going to have maybe the best sophomore season this year?
I'm gonna go first, just as I don't want Rob to think I'm copying him. So I'm gonna go first, so that way Rob don't think I'm copying. I honestly think Lawrence has a good shot being developed under Peterson, and what he did with the Eagles. I think I will see a better version, or we should see a better version of Lawrence. And if we don't see a better version of Lawrence, then I think he's gonna be, put on notice.
He might be. He might start getting talked as a bust if he don't start.
Exactly.
He might be looked at as
going to have the best second year, no doubt. I think Justin Fields has the best second year. Again, he has got the quarterback, or he's got the offensive coordinator, he's got the head coach, he's got a good running back in Montgomery, he's got a couple of decent wideouts in Mooney, and I forget the other one. They're gonna do. I think he should have the best out of the second year guys.
I agree with you 100%, Jay. It will be Justin Fields. I just think he's learned. They say you learn from pain, and he got hit a lot. So I think he's gonna continue to learn. I just want him to get that third eye, that quarterback eye, because he took a lot of shots last year in that blind side.
Yeah, he's got to start feeling that pressure more. He's got to know where that pressure's coming
that's
from.
the only thing I'm nervous about with him, because you can't take too many hits like that and have a long career.
But again, I think that's having this new offensive coordinator that has worked with the likes of Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to give him the ability probably to learn how to read those defenses better, so he can have an eye before he even hits the ball, that he kind of knows where the pressure should be coming by looking at the offensive, or the defensive schemes. Hopefully that's where, this coordinator is going to help him develop, because if he can learn to read that defense a little bit better, again, that should help take that pressure off of him.
You hope so, but they still got the same damn offensive line.
That's true.
I go with Lawrence, but not by much. I just think with Jacksonville, I think they have a little bit better receiver, and I think Jacksonville might have improved their offensive line a little bit more than the Bears did.
Yeah, the Bears didn't do anything.
That's why I lean toward Lawrence a little more than Fields. But do you think Lance? I know he didn't get to play last year. What do you think Lance is going to come in and look like with the 49ers? I'm not sold on him yet. He might prove me wrong, make me look, and I'll say, hey, I was wrong, but we haven't seen enough of them playing to be sold on them.
Yeah, I got to see a couple games. It's hard to predict what he's even capable of, because I mean the outings I have seen from him have not been so good. So if that's all I have to base off what I think he's gonna do, then it's not good.
It makes me think that the 49ers might be making a mistake.
Letting Jimmy G go, bring back Jimmy, free Jimmy G.
Real quick, John asked about Baker and what his tenure looks like now with Carolina. Will it be the old Baker or I think we're gonna see a different Baker. I really do. Nothing makes a guy better than being handled in the way in which the Browns handled him, and the disrespect in which they showed him, I think is going to fuel. You got to remember, this is a guy who plants the flag in the middle of the O at Ohio.
I've been saying this.
What I'm saying by that is there's no way that you have that confidence in yourself. You had that bravado. You had that arrogance. You had that competitiveness, and you go do that. This guy is the type of guy that takes stuff personally, and I'm not even cursing when I say that, but he takes things personally. So I do think that we're going to see a better version of Baker. How much better? It's hard to say because let's be honest, outside of DJ Moore, what do they really have? You got a broke McCaffrey. Hopefully he can stay healthy and take some of the pressure off in the running game. But we'll see what Baker can do with what he has. Secondly, I don't know. On terms of the fields, in terms of weapons that Tony Gonzalez asked about, I'll let Rob speak on that because I know he knows. The only one I really know is Mooney, so I'll let him speak on that. He knows his receivers better than I do. But in terms of Trey Lance, when I look at Trey Lance, Jesus, man, I'm like you, Gonzo. I haven't seen enough. I don't know enough to make an informed decision or guess even. So I'm going to say that because they did not let Jimmy G go and they retained him, that kind of gives me some sort of inkling that maybe they feel like they need to keep him as an insurance policy to Trey Lance. So that kind of makes me already be somewhat skeptical of Trey. And the only way we're going to know is when the season starts as to whether or not Trey can handle it or not handle it.
And John asked how long is Zach Wilson out for. There's actually a chance that Zach Wilson plays on Sunday. It says Zach Wilson works out. It's possible he plays Sunday, says Robert Salah. So there's a chance that Wilson could be on the field for week 1. If not, if he's that close, I would say he'll probably be on the field week 2. And Jay, you know how I feel about Carolina and Baker going to Carolina. I've been saying it since they made that trade. Yeah. I think Baker's going to get Carolina in the playoffs this year. I really do. I think they have a good chance of getting that wild card, at least getting a wild card spot. Carolina has a good defense. They got off to a good start last year, then some injuries. McCaffrey got hurt, and then Darnold just started playing terrible. I think Baker's a better quarterback than a lot of people want to give him some credit for. Yeah, it wasn't always great in Cleveland, but you got to remember where Cleveland was when he got there. They were winning 0-1 to maybe 2 games a season, and he was able to get them to the playoffs. He did help turn Cleveland around, even if he didn't live up to what they thought he was going to be. But he also had different coaches, different coordinators almost every season. Had an injury last year. He played hurt. So I think Baker's going to have I really do. I think Baker's going to have a good season this year.
I thought it was kind of funny. I remember all those Baker Mayfield commercials where he's basically pretending to live in the Browns stadium. And I just wonder if I was them, I would have had the final commercial would have been Baker getting eviction notice. That would have been the bomb, That would have been the best commercial ever, honestly, in my opinion. What a time to be alive. I can't wait for this week's games to just get underway, man. Damn. Thursday. Today's Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 days. We got 3 days. Damn it. 3 days and I don't know how many hours.
And to answer Tony's question, no, Field does not have enough weapons. Chicago, I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, if you're not going to get our offensive line, at least get some weapons. I mean, you getting to kill Harry. That's the only notable name I know besides Moody on the Bears receiving core. So it's going to be tough for the Bears, man. It's going to be tough.
I like that. Mayfield confirmed his at-home with Baker Mayfield ads with, I believe it was State Farm, the insurance company, were no longer going to happen. Despite his best effort, the idea of doing a commercial surrounding his move from Cleveland to Carolina was thrown out there, but just never came to fruition. I want to know the executive that put the kibosh on that because you're an idiot. You're a moron. You're fired. Rob, you've been hired.
We also have a college.
We're flying you to the headquarters. We're redoing this commercial.
You can't forget, Jay, we have a college football game on tonight with Clemson and
Clemson, baby, number 4.
They better come out and perform. I'll tell you that.
I think with them, it's all going to be on how that quarterback plays this year. He didn't play. He didn't play real well last year. If he don't step it up this year, they're going to have problems. And how much is losing that defensive coordinator going to hurt them? Losing Venables. Venables went and took the head coaching job. And how much is that going to hurt?
Yeah, he went to Oklahoma, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to Oklahoma,
right?
Yeah. And he was considered the best defensive mind in college football. And to lose somebody, a high level coordinator like that could affect Clemson as well.
Oh, absolutely, it could. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when that's the architect of your defense, will they take a step back? Sure. They still have, fairly good talent. Will it affect them? Yes. Is it going to be enough to really knock them that far down? I don't believe so. I think Clemson's going to be okay. But, it definitely – when you let go of an architect like Venables, it's definitely going to affect you. And I think that's probably more so from a play calling perspective.
Yeah, that, and he was one of the best at he's one of the best at making in-game adjustments too.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
What's the deal with the Dolphins owner on tanking games? Didn't he get in trouble? I think that's still being investigated.
That's still under investigation right now. That hasn't even been dealt with yet. So we don't know. That hasn't been dealt with. Brian Flores' lawsuit still hasn't been dealt with. So that's a lot of what ifs. I really would have liked to have seen the NFL. Number one, the NFL can't. How can you suspend somebody or do something when the court process or the lawsuit process hasn't even been dealt with? So, that might be a court system issue to get him dealt with on that level. And then, comes a suspension. That's what I would think.
Jay, what'd you think about the Cowboys adding Peters to try to bolster their offensive line?
Yeah, I like it because, quite honestly, when we lost Tyron Smith to that quadricep strain, it really opened up Pandora's box because we were already shuffling around our offense line to make it happen. And then he goes down, and now that's another spot we got to deal with. They brought in Tyler Smith in the first round. Again, he's a guy that, is still very, very unpolished, has a lot of work to do, but his physical gifts and mentality is why they drafted him in the first. And if they could polish him up and get him better techniques and so forth and not commit so many penalties, which I'm telling you, normally when you get penalties on the offensive line, that means you're either too slow getting off the line or they were just faster and you felt like you had to hold so the guy didn't get past you. So that's definitely something he has to work on. And I think now that they brought in Peters, maybe they can take Tyler Smith a step back and then insert Peters in there, who already has veteran, proven ship. And then that allows them to work with Smith and get him more up to speed. So I think that's a great move on the Cowboys' part. I've been saying that they needed to pick up another offensive lineman because of that. And I'm glad that Cowboys did. It's probably one of the best things they could have done this offseason, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they needed to do something to try to help that offensive line because, like you said, the players they've lost due to some injuries and stuff. And if you can't protect Dak, I don't care how. He ain't gonna be able to do. How good he is or isn't, he ain't gonna be able to do a whole lot if you don't have an offensive line. And you guys need to be able to run that ball. Let me ask you this real quick.
They're about to be champions now.
I will say this, though. The only downside to Peters is that he is 40 years old. So he does have some age on his side. But as you know, I can't remember that guy's name right off the top of my bat, but the offensive lineman for the Rams, that he retired this year because he got the ring, but he was, I think, 40 or 41. So it can be done, but it is a little harder. Brown.
Oh, no, I was going to ask, though, who's going to have the better season for you guys, Jay? Tony Pollard or Ezekiel Elliott?
I would love for it to be Zeke, but I'm not 100% sold on him this year. I know last year he missed some time carrying the ball due to injury, but I'm giving it to Pollard. I just, I think that probably Zeke will get the bulk of it, but when it comes to yards per carry, I think Pollard is going to get the more yards per carry, or is going to average more yards per carry than Zeke will. Zeke may have the better yardage total at the end of the season, but when you break it down to yards per carry, I think it's going to fall into Pollard. And when your yards per carry are better, that just means you're more effective. So in some aspects, right? So Pollard, I think, is going to be the more effective back. I guess that answers. That's the short answer.
All right. Let's before we get out of here, one more thing. Tua, what can we expect from these Miami Dolphins and all the changes they've made? Brought in Tyreek Hill. They've done everything they can to put Tua in a situation to succeed. Finally, I mean, you can say he hasn't had a coach that's really believed in him since he's been at the Dolphins. We all know Flores didn't really believe in him, and I think Flores is a great coach. I'm gonna be happy to see him get another head coaching job and prove it with maybe an owner that isn't a dumbass like the Dolphins owner. But what do you expect from Tua? He's one of the guys I haven't been sold on, and I just didn't think Tyreek Hill's not that Tyreek Hill ain't a good player. I just don't think his skill set matches up with the Dolphins and Tua's abilities, as well as maybe some other receivers could have.
Hey, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I look at the comments, and personally, I think it's quite unfair that, Chris, you have your father come on the show in the comments and give you number one and me number two.
Hey, I didn't have to do nothing.
No. Chris, that whole nepotism thing does not fly here. Now, Tony, I respect you.
At least you're number two. I'm number three.
Hey, but you better fix that.
Hey, at first he had Jay. No.
Exactly. No, read it out right. And then he put Chris in there, and I just don't understand. But that's all right, man. Hey, moving on. I got mad love. Chris, I apologize. I should have focused on your question.
If I'd have been number two and you was at number one, stayed at number one, everything would have been cool, right?
Hell no.
Well, it would have
still number three.
Now he's gonna say Rob number one just to piss everybody off. Hey, what was the? I apologize. I just got fixated on your father's comments, and I should have been listening to the question. Could you please repeat?
Tua, how do you think, with everything the Dolphins have done to try to put him in the best situation to succeed, do you think this is going to work out for the Dolphins and Tua, or do you think the Dolphins are going to be looking for a new quarterback?
No, I definitely think number one, yeah. He said, Rob, not enough. When it comes to Tua, man, number one, does he have the weapons? Hell yes. Waddle, Tyreek, Gesicki, however you say his name. Then we all know that Gaston out of the backfield can catch the ball. So he's got tight ends, running backs, receivers, the deep threat, the medium across the field threat. Everything that he needs to do is absolutely there. The offensive line, the coaching staff, defense. I mean, everything that he needs to be successful is there. Now, what does it come down? It just comes down to him. That's it. Comes down to him. Can he execute all of the throws? And I know that we've seen him in training camp. I know that we've seen him in preseason games making those throws. And so in my honest opinion, barring injury, I think Tua is going to surprise a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are going to see a different version of Tua this year than they did last year. And again, please don't forget that Tua did rescue Alabama and get them a national title when Jalen Hurts clearly was not getting it done. I want people to remember that, because sometimes we overlook that or forget about it or minimize it.
What do you think, Rob? You agree with Jay? Tua going to turn it around this year?
Well, he has enough weapons to turn it around. I've seen a little bit of them doing this preseason, a couple long balls to Tyreek Hill, and I think Tyreek Hill is going to help him in the passing game just because of his speed. But
oh shit! Oh my bad. Did you see the dude real quick? I think, what team is that? The Rangers was swinging the bat and almost, or the Twins, the guy on
oh yeah, almost hit him in the face.
Hit the dude, yeah, almost hit dude in the face.
Yeah, I saw that.
In the on deck circle. Ooh, I'd have took that bat and beat the hell out of that dude with it. My bad, go ahead.
But I don't think Miami makes the playoffs.
I personally think that Bridgewater is going to be the starter before the end of the season.
Before it's all said and done, huh?
But
I want everybody. When I say everybody, I really don't mean everybody. I really just mean Tony Gonzalez to remember what your son said. He said, and I quote, that at some point we are going to see Teddy Bridgewater for the Miami Dolphins. We had Rob on here saying that he possibly could. He does have the weapon. But I want everybody to understand that Jay McLovin said Tua is going to make people think about what they predicted when it came to Tua. And I want everybody to understand, when I say everybody, I really just mean Tony, that I want to see a new revised rankings when that happens. And if Jay McLovin is not number one, I'm going to come find you. He said Frankie sucks. I love that. You're gonna love that.
Before let's get to some final thoughts before we wrap it up here on Labor Day, and then for people here in a little after 3, I'm going to be going through the basically NFL games, giving out some of the picks for the NFL. We're usually just talking a lot of baseball and easy money, but today will be a lot of NFL and some college football stuff as well, on some different picks and stuff on some of the games coming up. So tune in that to hear in a little bit. But you got any final thoughts, Jay?
Yeah. First off, glad again, Chris, that you're upright, vertical, and doing better. Again, I don't, a lot of times we don't, we take for granted, man, when we're all feeling good. But I'm telling you, man, we got to pick up our brothers and sisters when they're not feeling good, because again, you're a huge part of this show, and we love you, man. And again, I'm just glad that you're, getting back to normal, number one. Number 2 is on Unscripted Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Our first topic, hint, is we're going to tap into the WNBA playoff recap in terms of where they are. And guess what? Mike Hughes is going to be leading that topic, because we all know that Mike is the aficionado of the Chicago Sky, and he really keeps up heavily on that topic. So you don't want to miss Mike Hughes and his recap on the WNBA, along with our takes as well.
Okay, yeah, that's gonna be fun tomorrow night. Yeah, it's always a fun time to get to talk to Mike Hughes.
Oh, absolutely, man. He's one of the good ones.
You got any final thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, man. Just ready for some football. Shout out to my boy Roman Reigns, still the champ. Bloodline just got a little bit bigger with more family with my boy Sikoa. So I'm excited right now about wrestling. WWE has kind of gotten back to some of their former glory. Shout out to Triple H and Stephanie. So yeah, and like I said, football, baby. Finally got something to watch. And shout out to, again, Coach Deion Sanders, man. What he's doing for HBCUs and the light that he's shining on them, and to watch what JSU did this previous weekend. The FAMU, went out there and destroyed them, took care of business. Right now it's just what Jay and Pride been saying, what a time to be alive and to love sports, baby.
Before you go real quick, can I just ask one thing? And again, when I ask this, please understand that this is a guy who is learning the world of wrestling that I'm not an experienced veteran like Gonzo and Rob and Pride and Frankie and Logan and all these others. We always say, why is it do we say, and Rob, I'm not picking on you. I'm just trying to understand. Why do we say congratulations to Roman Reigns when we all know there's congratulations to Triple H for scripting it that Roman Reigns went? Why don't we just say congratulations, Triple H?
Because Roman Reigns has to go out there and execute his character, and that's what he's been doing. So Jay, acknowledge him.
You know what? You know who I'm going to acknowledge? Right. And I don't remember the guy's name, but I'm going to acknowledge the young Uso, the baby Uso that pulled Roman Reigns from the pit of hell.
I'll tell you what, the match my dad just put up there, Gunther and Sheamus.
That was badass.
That was the match. To me, that was the match of the weekend, man. They beat the holy hell out of each other.
God, did you see the Twitter of his chest? It was stupid.
Yeah, I was looking for the picture of my chest. I was going to send you that picture of my chest.
I've seen it. I think you showed me. Well, you showed me. It was pretty rough. I mean, I'll say this: if you think wrestling,
that was only 3. He took about 50.
Well, that just kind of shows you that there is some physicality, even when it's scripted. There's still physicality, in the wrestling world. It's incredible. It was the match of the year. I believe you.
What did you think of that match, Rob?
Which one? Oh, Gunther and Sheamus?
Yeah.
First of all, I agree with Walter. With Pride, his name is Walter.
Yeah.
But no, you want to talk about hard hitting match? I mean, that was a hard hitting match. You weren't gonna see much wrestling moves in that match.
No, I felt sorry for the women that had to go on after that match because
because
anybody, how would you follow that? You know what I mean?
The champ, what's her name? Oh my God,
Liv Morgan.
Yeah, Liv Morgan. Yep. And Shayna Baszler went on next. So
yep.
It was messed up for them. I'm like, golly.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a hard match. I mean, that's a hard match for anybody to follow when two guys go out there and put on a show like that.
I just officially became an adult. I am brewing coffee at almost 2:00 in the afternoon. Well, it's 2:00 my time, 3:00 New York time, and I am brewing a cup of coffee.
That is incredible.
I am.
By the way,
I'm never drinking a cup of coffee.
Let me get out of here. On this date, 2013, Peyton Manning threw an NFL record 7 touchdown passes.
Oh, Jay, I was just watching that highlight. Oh my God!
How
the
I did not realize that. I saw that.
Oh my God! Wes Welker was on that team. That Denver Broncos team was stacked.
They were filthy. They were filthy. What a time to be alive.
Hey, Peyton was a bad boy. I know I say Tom Brady the GOAT, but I never want to undercut what Peyton Manning was to the sport of football and to that quarterback position. That was a bad boy.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad he got his second ring. And by the way, Matt Stafford, I really need you at some point to get into the ring so that way we can start saying that Stafford was better than Rodgers.
Oh, okay. I thought you was getting ready to say Stafford was better than Manning. I was going to say, whoa.
I was going to be like, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
I know. I was waiting for it because I saw Chris's mustache kind of perk up a little bit. I saw Ron's lips kind of purse up a little bit. I thought the coffee pot was going to go flying.
I was like, I'm going to hit you with the J.
When I give you the third eye.
He's my favorite football player of all time. Him and Marvin Harrison.
When I give you the third eye, you better run.
But no, man, yeah, Peyton was a spectacle.
And the Colts could have got a better defense around them. They could have won a few more Super Bowls than what they did. Well, you had to go
one at my expense.
And you was going against New England.
You got one at my expense.
Yeah, that game scared the hell out of me the way it started.
Yeah, I thought Devin Hester.
Yeah. I was having a big party at my house, and I had it projected up on the wall with the projector. the house was full. Soon as that happened, I just wanted to walk outside and leave. I was like, fuck this game. I was mad. Like, it was raining, so I figured the Bears were going to be able to run the ball. And then Peyton kind of took over, and then Dominic Rhodes don't get the credit he deserves for that Super Bowl either, because he ran the hell out of the ball during that game.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
He was an underrated running back for the Colts.
I still think, man,
Edgerrin James was the man.
Best running back. I mean, maybe outside of Dickerson. I've always loved Edgerrin. I always thought Edge was like one of y'all guys' best runners, man.
Oh yeah, I loved Edge.
I don't think Edge gets the respect that he deserves.
He was a beast.
And when the Colts won that Super Bowl that year over the Bears, Irsay got Edgerrin James a ring.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive, baby.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We will see you guys tomorrow for another episode of the ASAP Afternoon Blitz, 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Like Jay said, don't miss Unscripted tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Don't miss it.
On the Unscripted Facebook page and on the ASAP Sports Network. Rob, when you doing any of your shows right now? I know you're out of town.
I want to. I'm gonna try to. I don't know yet.
You can find Rob at Rob's 2 cents.
Okay.
Not sure when his show's gonna be back yet. I know he's been out of town working. So once he gets back in town, I'm sure he'll get back on it.
Yes, busy man. Hey, New York, I appreciate y'all for showing your boy love out here.
I'll tell you what, man, that show you guys, that showroom you guys built for that show was nice. It's crazy how quick you guys can get that stuff up and down.
Oh, appreciate you. Hey, y'all follow me right now on social media. And you guys can follow along next week. Well, this week, I should say, the show starts. So wait till you guys see everything all beautiful, the Armory show. And if you're in the New York area, stop by, come see one of the biggest art shows in America. We built that, we did that. Let's do it.
By the way, I think when you leave your hotel and you go to the job place, you need to have in your iPod and put the little ear things in. You need to have Jay-Z's Concrete Jungle or whatever it is about New York. You know what I'm talking about? Concrete jungles that made up New York.
You know what?
You need to play that, walk down the street, because I'm telling you, it'll put you in a good mood to have some Hannah sound.
You know what? When I was walking to work, I was playing Biggie. Hypnotized.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
You know, I was like, hey, I'm playing some of Biggie. Listen, in New York, you know. Now I've scratched that off the bucket list.
Oh, what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. I'm just saying, man, walk to New York with pride, but just make sure you keep your wallet in your front pocket.
And also, I'm sure if you're a wrestling fan, I'm sure Monday Night Raw is going to be off the hook tonight.
It's going to be off the hook tonight.
So I'd check out Monday Night Raw tonight. And and check out Gonzo and the Judge tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern. Almost forgot about that show.
Hey, you know what? If you're going to be doing a recap of wrestling, and if I'm up, I'll try to join.
And then I got a Colt show at 6. So, yeah, this will be a busy day. You'll be able to find me on that ASAP network about all day long.
Y'all follow my boy Chris. He out here working.
What? Well, he needs to. He been in the bed on Gonzo. Get your ass to work.
I got to get to work. I took a week off.
Glad to have you back, though, my brother.
Oh, I'm glad to be back, man. I'm so tired of having the stomach issues. Hopefully, they get this stuff figured out.
I know.
Yeah.
Medicine they give me must not be working, because it seems like I can go 2-3 weeks and then boom. Hey, you know how doctors are. Sometimes it's a slow process, but they'll get to it. They'll get there eventually. Real quick. This Asia Wilson, did she? How was that not a damn travel into that game yesterday? Did you guys see that? She took like 5 steps on that layup.
Hey, like Kobe said, there are certain spots on the court that camera and refs don't see. And she just happened to be in the golden spot.
They must have had the lens down on that camera.
But while we at it, though, shout out to the Chicago Sky, baby. 1 game away from making it back to the final, baby.
I mean, that was a fun game to watch, but man, I was like, damn, the Aces and Sunday was a fun game to watch, but it's like, man, you can't be missing a call like that in the playoff game at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
But but also the Sun can't go into overtime and fall apart like they did either. So, I mean, they're
going against the Storm, right?
Okay, who's the Aces is playing Sky, isn't it?
No, Sky playing the
Sun.
Okay, who the Aces? Aces and Storm. You're right. I said Aces and Suns. Sun, didn't I? Yeah, Storm.
By the way, does anybody find it crazy that Mitchell Trubisky was named a captain of the Steelers?
Nope.
Nah, I mean, who else was they going to name?
I think Mitch is going to have a decent year this year. I'm telling you, I think most of Mitch's problems was Matt Nagy.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, there's only one way to find out, right?
Say Mitch is the shit.
Well, I'm not going to go that far.
And on that note,
we'll see you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, for another episode of the ASAP Afternoon Blitz.
Enjoy your coffee, people.
On behalf of Jay McLovin, Rob Scott, I'm Chris Gonzalez. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
That ain't coffee, that's liquor. We all know it. That's liquor. Stop it.
Can I say? All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.